Good morning, everyone. I'm so glad you're with me this morning. We've got a lot of ground to cover this morning. And if you are a DIYer and you love making things, you're going to love this graduation cap gift card holder. It doubles as a card. I'm going to just show you real quick. It is a remake of a graduation gift card holder I made many years ago. But what happened was some of the supplies that I used and tools that I used back then are no longer available. So I get emails about this tutorial and people want to know how to make this. And so I want to show you how to make it with tools that you can use in 2022. And hopefully I've simplified the process enough that this tutorial will be good going forward. So basically, here's the front. And when you open it up, you've got a space. And depending on how you configure this, you can write on this portion as well. I have stamped on this portion, but you can leave it white, or you can use a lighter color and then you can write over top of the spiral die. And then down here is this gift card holder piece, and I've just kind of created a little cardstock piece to emulate a gift card, and I have some actual gift cards so I can show you, but this space is fairly large, so it can fit different sizes of gift cards, or you can put cash in there, and it just makes for a really kind of cool gift card holder. This is mailable, and I'm going to show you how to make an envelope so that you can mail this. You can also mail it in a regular envelope for a regular Stampin' Up! Size card. A regular Stampin' Up! Size card is 4¼ by 5½. So if you use a medium envelope in Stampin' Up! Language, you will be able to fit that inside there. So we've got a lot of ground to cover this morning, and I'm going to talk to you all at the end. And if you have any questions along the way, I hope you will ask them. If you're watching this as a replay later on, please post your questions in the comments, and I will get to them as soon as I can. So let me pop over. Oh, one little thing. I will have a project sheet for this gift card holder. I don't have it prepared yet, so I can't even flash you a preview, but you need to be on my email list in order to get it. So check down below in the description of this video, and there's a link to my email list, and just click on it and you'll be able to get a copy of this project sheet. I will send it out on Saturday to my email list subscribers. All right, let's switch over. Look at here. I made one in blue cardstock too, because I was looking at images of gift card holders, graduation caps yesterday, and I saw some in different colors, and I thought, oh, why should we just do boring black? Because some schools do different colors. So this one's in a new color we have called Starry Sky. It's kind of a really nice royal blue. So if you need one to match a school's color, you can definitely do them in whatever color you want. That's the cool thing about DIY, is that you can make it in whatever color you want. So here's one that I made similarly to this black one. Okay, I'm gonna make a red one this morning just to show you how to make it. So I'm going to be using some cherry cobbler cardstock. I'm gonna grab out a sheet. This is an 8½ by 11 sheet. And I'm going to cut it down to size. So I'm going to grab my paper trimmer. It's a good thing you should have a paper trimmer and a scoring board to do this project. But you don't need a diagonal scoring board, because I'm going to show you a way to not do that. So I'm putting the 8½ inch side up at the top, and I'm going to line up the edge of my cardstock with a 5½ inch mark. And then I'm going to take my cutting blade. It's resting at the bottom off camera. And I'm just going to cut down. So we have this little piece left over. You can save that for another project. And now we have a piece that measures 11 inches by 5.5 inches. I'm going to grab my Simply Scored scoring board. I'm going to show you 3 different ways to score this piece today, just to give you options. And first of all, you want to score it down the middle. I've got my 11-inch side up at the top, and I'm going to score this at the 5.5-inch mark. You could use your trimmer also. Our trimmer comes with a cutting and a scoring blade, so you can also score this in half at the 5.5-inch mark on the trimmer. But a couple of things I like about the Simply Scored is the score grooves are just really nice and thick. So you can see there's my little scoring cup. Okay, so now we're going to make ourselves some marks. So we can do some diagonal scoring. And when I originally designed this tutorial, I used a diagonal score plate, which we no longer sell. But just because we don't have a diagonal score plate doesn't mean we can't score on the diagonal. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And I like to use my scoring board to create marks. You can also use a pencil mark to do the same thing, a pencil mark and a ruler. So here's what I'm going to do. I want to make marks on the long side, on both long sides. So I'm just going to use the ball of my stylus tool, and I'm going to make a little divot at the 2 3/4 inch mark. So I'm just going to press down 2 3/4 and over here at 8 1/4. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to hold this up. You can see I just made a little divot. And over here on this side, turn it to the light, I made a little divot. So now I'm going to go to the other 11-inch side, and I'm going to do the same thing. At 2 3/4, I'm going to press down and 8 1/4. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to make an X from those little divots to the little divots. So I'll show you what that looks like in a second. So I'm going to, earlier, I took a Sharpie marker, and I have this permanently on my scoring board. You can see that there is a line on my scoring board that is black. Well, I added that with a black Sharpie, and I just darkened it, and then I made sure I let it dry for a little bit to make sure that it didn't transfer any of the ink over. Sharpie tends to dry quickly, but you just want to make extra sure because you're going to press down on there. You want to make sure that that's dark. I like to keep this permanently because I like to score along this, and because the score lines are really close together on here, it's very hard to line up without a reference point. Okay, so I'm going to create an X from those scoring points. So I've got a little mark here and a little mark here. So I just need to make sure that they line up. And then I'm going to score down. And you can see I'm creating an X. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the other ones. So line that one up, line that one up. Oh, it's off camera. Sorry guys. Let's move this up just a little bit for now so you can kind of see. All right, let's push that back a little bit. Push, push, push. Okay. All right, so I've got this one lined up and that one lined up, and we're going to score. You can kind of see, let me grab, I did one in gray for you. So just look at the middle X because I've actually also scored these lines here, but you want this X right here, okay? You see that? A little bit better than the red cardstock. We have the middle score line now and the X. Okay. Now we're going to do scoring of these corner pieces. So I'm going to turn this piece to the short side, and now I'm going to make myself a little mark at the 2 3/4 inch mark. Okay, and then I'll do the same for the other short side at the 2 3/4 inch mark. Now I'm going to take, see how this X comes this way? That's the first divot I made, and now I'm going to score over to this side over here. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. So I'm just lining up that little mark I made with the end of the score line. Trying to hold it up to light so you can kind of see it. And we'll do this over here. Okay, so I wanted to show you, that's how I would do it on like scoring on the diagonal on this line. There's a couple other ways you can do it. If you just want to use your trimmer, you can use your trimmer. So our trimmer comes with a cutting and a scoring blade. So this one, you don't have to darken a line because our trimmer has a little groove in the center. You may not see it, but it's kind of dark. There's kind of plastic on either side, and then there's kind of a black groove you can see. So now I'm lining up that little mark that I made, which you might make with a ruler with a pencil mark. And make sure you don't use your cutting blade yet. I'm going to score this. You know what? My scoring blade was not down all the way and it didn't score. So let me redo that. Okay. Now, okay, I was wondering why that felt so light. So you can see, you can score, whoa. You can score with your little blade on here. The other thing you can do, if you don't like that type of diagonal scoring, you can take the Stampin' Pierce mat or another foam mat and a ruler, and you can take your ruler, line it up on the mat here, and since this is the scoring tool from the Simply Scored, it has a stylus end to it, but we sell a tool called the Take Your Pick tool, and it has an attachment. It has a stylus attachment. Where is it? It's right here. Okay, so you can just swap this out for the stylus attachment and just line up your 2 points. And because this is a soft mat, when you line this up and you run this along here, you can also make your score lines like that. So the 3 ways are, you can do it lining it up on the Simply Scored on a darkened score groove. You can use your trimmer, or you can use a soft mat. And you're going to have to connect all of these lines. I'm just going to show you on this gray piece because it's a little lighter and easier to see. The first score lines in the middle, and then we've got the X, and then we've got these ones on the end. Okay, so let's take our piece again. And we're going to cut off 2 of the corner scores. So in essence, if you didn't want to, if you were doing this on your scoring, on your trimmer, you could have just gone ahead and trimmed off those lines if you wanted to, instead of scoring them first. I find it easier to visually to do all the scoring first and then do the cutting. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this off, 1 corner, and you can save that for another project or throw it out. And then we're going to do the other side. Okay. So now we've got a piece that looks like this with the corners cut off. And going back to this one, I'm going to bring those corners back in for a second just to kind of show you. So this would be the part that I cut off on the trimmer on the diagonal. Okay. All right. So this piece right here with the corners cut off, this is going to be the top of your cap. Actually, yes, it is going to be the top of your cap. So what you need to do is mark the center of the cap. So you can put a brad in there for the little button that goes on the top. So the easiest way I found to do this is this square right here measures 3 7/8 inches. So what I did was I took a piece of computer paper and I cut it to 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. I folded the piece in half, and then I folded the piece in half one more time. Then I unfolded just one, so now it's in the half, but I've got my little line that shows the center mark. Now I can come right here on the end and line this up with that end, and my pencil has wandered. Oh, here it is. So I've got it lined up perfectly, and this is my fold line right here, so I'm just going to follow that up, and if I put a dot right there, that's going to be pretty close to center because I have used the same dimensions and I've got a little line right there. It's just a very easy way to find the perfect center for that. Then you're going to bring in your mat and we're going to swap out our little stylus tool. Come here, pop that away, and we'll place back in our little piercing attachment, and now I'm going to pierce that. I won't go down all the way, just down a little ways, because if you keep going down it's quite thick and I don't need that much thickness. All right, so then we can go ahead, and these are our round and square brads, and I don't think I could find brads that are more perfect for a graduation cap, because we've got little square ones and then we've got smaller ones that are round, but I think these square ones really do a good job for the button of the graduation cap. So I'm just going to slip that in, and then this will be the top, and then just spread out those little brad legs like that. Okay, and there's the button of our graduation cap. So then we need to fold this, and we're going to create a gift card holder. So we've got this pointed end at the top, and now we're going to fold these two pieces, and use a bone folder really helps. Like this. And then we're going to cut a piece to cover this bottom area. But first let's continue folding this, and then we'll add that cover in just a second. So I'm going to bring this side in right here, and I'm going to bring this side in right here, and then I'm going to bring this in and fold it back, this one in and fold it back, and then we're going to come down here and it's going to fold like this. So, okay, you know what I could have done? Could have gone like this and like this, and then these ones fold in like that. So there is the graduation cap. So let me show you how this all comes together. So this part is going to be the gift card holder. So to create a cover for this, I'm going to take another piece of cherry cobbler, and bring back in the trimmer. And we're going to cut this piece to 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. So now I have a 3 7/8 inch square, and I'm going to line this up on the diagonal on this groove right here, and I'm going to cut it in half. So now I have 2 pieces. I'll use 1 piece for this card. If you're making 2 cards, save this piece for your second card. Bring in your piece. We're going to have some glue. And these 2 pieces, these ones that are flapping down, that's what you're going to put the tombow on. So I'll just put a little triangle, and then I'll take this piece and I'm going to fit it right on top. And push it down. Okay, so I just want to show you real quick. I've got some old gift cards here. So that's the little pocket that the gift card is going to go into. Okay, so next we need to create some pieces to cover up the brads and to give this a little bit more of an accent. So yesterday I was looking what stamp sets I have that maybe could give this card a little bit more pizzazz, because right now it's kind of just one color and maybe it's a little bit bland. I know it's a graduation cap, so you know, maybe we expect that, but I thought the spiral die stamp set, if you like tie-dye, look at this. This is a piece that I made with the same stamp set, but we can kind of keep it a little bit more neutral. And we do sell a really big block. This is called it's an F block. Okay, and you could absolutely stick this on an F block, but yesterday I was a little lazy. So I want to show you a little trick that it won't work for if you're going to do that tie-dye spiral, but in a pinch, this is going to work if you don't want to get this block right away. And so I wanted to show you a little trick for for my purposes. So to create those, we have 2 inside pieces. I'll just show you on this card. We've got a square up here, and we've got a half a square on the diagonal down here. So I'm starting with 2 basic white pieces that are 3.5 by 3.5. I'm going to take my So Saffron ink pad. I took the backing off of my stamp and I've stuck it right into my stamp case, and I'm going to ink it up right in my stamp case. Talk about being a lazy stamper or what. So just make sure you've got the middle of this inked up really, really well. You'll need a little scrap piece of paper. I cut mine to 4 1/4 by 5.5, just a piece of computer paper. And I'm going to stick my piece down as close to center as possible. Then I'm going to stick this piece down on top of it. And I'm going to rub my basic white piece, and you want to make sure you rub the whole piece, because since there's no way you can do this over and get it centered properly again. So make sure while you're rubbing, you're doing a good job of transferring that ink. And then I'm going to lift this off. And there is my first piece. And let me do this again. Just make sure you get good ink coverage. And I will not be changing my blog to the Lazy Stamper. I do like to do things precisely. But this time I was just, I don't know what got into me last night. Okay, so I've got that centered down there again. And we'll rub on here again, make sure. Normally you just be putting pressure right down onto your work surface, but I'm just doing a quick and easy. Okay, so then lift this off. Ta-da! So we've got a second one. I'm going to close this up and I will clean this later. And close up my ink pad. So one of these pieces I'm going to need to cut in half for that bottom piece. So I'll bring my trimmer in again, line up on the diagonal, and then give it a cut. So now I've got two pieces. I can save this piece for another card. And then I can glue these down. Now, if I wasn't stamping on here, you could just use basic white squares that are 3.5 by 3.5, and you'd cut one on a diagonal. And then you can stamp on here. If you want to stamp a greeting directly onto the cardstock, do it before you glue it down because it's harder once it's glued down. And I've got this brad here, so I don't think it would stamp very nicely. So, but since I'm going to create little banners instead of stamping right on here, I'm going to go ahead and glue these in right now. And I'm just centering it. There's about, I don't know how much space there is around there, but maybe about a 1/4 inch. Press that down. I think this just adds a little good energy to the card. You know, just a little bit of like wow and fun. The spiral die stamp set. Okay, and now we're going to add some greetings. And for the greetings, I'm going to use this great stamp set called A Grand Kid. And the reason I like this is there's so many good greetings that you could use for your graduation card. We've got congratulations. We've got so proud of you. You are so loved. You've even got kind of a corny greeting. No amount of money could ever show how much I love you. And then you put this one in here, but here's some anyway. So there's a lot of great greetings in here. And so go ahead and choose the ones you want. I'm going to be using congratulations and so proud of you. I think those are the most generic and neutral ones. And I'm going to show you two different ways to do them. So I've got these guys on my blocks. If you own a die cutting machine, I like to use the Stylish Shapes dies because they've got these little banners with edges around that. So I would just use 2 scrap pieces of paper. And, let's use our cherry cobbler. Ink, ink, ink. And I'm going to stamp congratulations on here. And this one is so proud of you. Right here. Okay. Put that away. You could also use black ink. It really doesn't matter. If you want to match the color theme of the card, stamp in a color that matches your cardstock. Then what I did was I ran these through with the die cutting machine. I can show you how I did that. Bring this in. All right, so I've got my base plate number 1, thin die adapter 2, cutting plate number 3. Take our first one, and I think I'm going to use a little bit of this. I don't have the magnetic platform. I will be getting it. I'm using a little post-it note tape. And for this one, I want to make sure that both the C and the exclamation mark fit on here. And then I'm going to bring this down so that the cross of the T is just below the opening of this die. And when that looks good, I'll stick that down and then we will run it through. Alternately, you could also do the banners first and then you could stamp on them. Okay, so there is banner number 1. And let's do So Proud of You. So this one has a little bit more room on either side. So for this one, I just want to make sure it's centered from side to side. And I'm kind of going for that loop of the R is right on the line and that little Y is kind of on the line where you can see it. Okay, the D is going to be sticking off a little bit, but I think when we cut it, it should be pretty good. All right, so now I'm going to run that through. Forward and back. And then we'll peel this off. And we've got our other little banner. And look at the cute little edging that has. Okay, so that is option number 1 for cutting out your little images. But if you don't have a die cut machine, you could get the Banners Pick-a-Punch. And I've cut 2 pieces already. So let me tell you how big these are. This one is 3 1/4 inches by 5/8 of an inch, and this one's 3 inches by 5/8. So this punch has grooves for 1/2 inch and 3/4 of an inch and 1 inch, but not for 5/8 of an inch. So what I do is I kind of shove this, let's open this up first. I shove this down here on the 3/4 inch score groove, kind of as far as it will go. Kind of pick it up with your fingers like this. So it's like this. And then turn it over and we're gonna eyeball it. I've kind of got my hands sticking out like this underneath. It's kind of weird. You'll understand once you have it in your hand. And then I'm just gonna eyeball it to make sure it looks even and then give it a little punch. And see how that turned out even if it was an odd size. I'll do the same thing for the other side. You just need a little bit to hold on to, thumb and pointer finger. Eyeball it over on this side, and when it looks good, just give it a little punch. And so now I've got a little piece that's banner punched, and we'll do the same thing for the other one. I found that the 1/2 inch width was just a little too small. That's why I bumped it up to 5/8. And I found 3/4 of an inch was a little too big. So I'll make a little compromise. Use the tools a little differently. Okay. So then, just for comparison, I made one of them a little smaller, like that. And then I went ahead and I stamped some earlier just so I wouldn't have to do the stamping again. So I just wanted to show you the difference. And let me bring this, oh, sorry. Let me bring this down. Okay. So I hope you can see that a little better, and you can see my little banners, and they look somewhat the same. In person, you're going to notice a little bit more detail on the Stylish Shapes dies ones, but options are good, right? Then I'm going to take some dimensionals, and we're going to just pop some on the back of here. and the back of here. And peel these off. Congratulations goes up top here. I've centered this. And if you were using just a white piece, you could write a little better on here, but if you use a black marker, like a black thin point Sharpie, if you do some writing on this side, I'm sure you'll be able to see it. And then we'll grab this one and we're going to put this down here. And so proud of you. All right, now this card needs a tassel, and you can make tassels, but it takes a long time. It's a little fiddly. So I opted to buy these tassels. I'll leave the link down below in the description of this video where I got my tassels. And these are just really nice gold tassels. They fit the size of the card nicely. So I'll just take this and just loop it around my thing. And you know, that's kind of the nice little finishing touch. And it just kind of hangs off of the side just really nicely. So there is that card. I'm going to show you how to make envelopes, but I just wanted to show you the three cards and how cute they are. Okay, let's pop these away for a moment and let's make an envelope. So if you want to make a square envelope, and I was talking to my mom on the phone last night while I was figuring out the envelope dimensions, and I said, but you could use a regular basic white medium envelope. They fit in here. Just fold this down. They fit in the basic white envelope like that. Okay, so you have an option if you don't want to make your envelope. But my mom said to me last night, but it would be really nice if it was a square envelope. And so I said, yes, I know. So I said I would show you how to make a square envelope for this. Without a diagonal scoring board, without an envelope punch board, you probably need a trimmer because you need to cut your cardstock down to size, and you need a scoring board. So let me show you how to do that. So this piece, I've got just a basic white piece here. You could use patterned paper if you wish. You could even use computer paper, but a computer paper would be really light. This is our regular thickness basic white cardstock, not the thick one. You could also make your envelope out of cardstock, but just keep in mind, if you're mailing a square envelope, there's a surcharge for the square. And I don't know about the thickness of this, so you will want to take that into the post office and make sure you're getting the appropriate amount of postage on your gift card holder if you will be mailing it. If you're handing it out, it doesn't matter. Okay, so we're going to start with a piece of basic white cardstock, and this square measures 8 1/8 by 8 1/8. We're going to use this darken score groove again. Is this going to come right off the edge? It's coming right off the edge, but let's move this up. I want to show you how this works again. Okay. All right. Where is my stylus tool? So remember, I have my 6-inch score groove marked. So down here at the very bottom, I can see that black line, and I know I am lining this up on the 6-inch score groove. One corner is way up in that 6-inch score groove, right up at the top, and the other one is lined up down here. You can do this, you don't need a ruler to do this, but I'm going to, where's my measurement here? All right. I want to make sure I give you the correct measurements. So we're going to score at the 3 3/8 inch mark and the 8 5/8 inch mark. So what you can do is you can start up top here at 3 3/8 and come down and then score down like that. I find it a little easier visually if I take a ruler and line it up just next to the mark that I'm scoring. So my next mark is 8 5/8. So I'm actually not, it's not even right on the groove, just next to it, but visually it helps me when I'm scoring down. So 8 5/8, and I'm going to come down and score down. Just helps me keep focused. Okay, so there are the two score grooves. We're going to turn it a quarter turn, put it back up at the 6 inch, line it back up down here at the bottom where your darkened score groove is, and this time I'm going to use my ruler for both. 3 3/8 again, and 8 5/8. Okay. This is what it looks like. Move this out of the way. So you'll notice you've got little triangles where those two intersect. It's symmetrical. You're going to take your snips and you're going to cut away those little triangles. So there is a minimum size for mailing a square envelope, and that size is 5 inches by 5 inches. That's the finished size. So we're going to double check before I sign off to make sure we've got the correct size. So we're going to score or fold along the score lines on all 4 sides. So this is a symmetrical envelope, so it really doesn't matter which is up and which is down. All right, so we'll just pick a side. You're going to fold in 2 of the sides, and then one of these is going to be the bottom. Okay, so what I like to do, since these 2 overlap in the center, I'll just put a little dot right in that overlapping area, press that down, and then I'm going to put Tombow down that side and Tombow down this side. You can kind of see, and then I'll fold this up and press down. Let's measure my envelope. So this measures about 5, it's almost 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, so it should be perfect for mailing with US Post. And then you can just take your card, fold it up, and place it inside your envelope, seal it up, and put it in the mail. Remember to get it weighed and checked to make sure the thickness isn't a surcharge as well. And there will be a surcharge because it's a square envelope. And just as a little aside, my mom sent my son a square card over Christmas, and it was mailed from Canada. And so it took a long time to get here. I don't think within the US it will be quite as bad, but just maybe take note and give yourself a little extra time with a square envelope. I don't know if it's a slowdown over the border because it was square, but just as a precaution, maybe your square card will take just a little longer. Rectangular cards can go through the machine, and I think square cards have to be handled a little differently. So there's the envelope. You've got two different options. Use a basic white medium envelope. Create yourself a square envelope. And then you've got options for colors. Have fun. Use the school colors. And gift cards. This is a pretty big area to stick a gift card. So remember, the top of the card is about 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. So I would say probably a card of 3 3/4 inches. You've got a 3 3/4 inch by 3 3/4 inch square area to stick a gift card. So even some of the larger gift cards should fit in here, even if it's a little oversized. And I have some gift cards, old hotel keys that I double as gift cards, but you can see that they would fit in here really nicely, and they just look so cute when they're done. What do you think? Will you be making some graduation cap gift card holders? I hope so. And I hope for those of you that loved my old tutorial, it was from all the way back in 2014. This will give you a way to create your gift card holder using currently available tools that we have right now. All right. I want to talk first, before I get to your comments and questions, I want to first talk about my host code gift of the month. And there it is. It's good until the end of the month. And if you use this host code and you spend at least $15, you'll get one of my free with purchase tutorials that you can choose. I've got over 80 tutorials to choose from. And if you spend $50, you'll get my tutorial, plus you will be getting some heart pearls sent to you in June. And these heart pearls, you can color them with our Stampin' Blends alcohol markers, so you can make them in whatever color you want. They're very sweet and cute. All right, guys, I am going to answer your questions if you have any. Good morning, Ellie. Oh, Ellie, you're going to have a hot day today. And Fair Blue says hers is going to be a hot day too. My goodness. Hello, Birgit. Everyone's having hot days today. Birgit says she's very excited to see my project because her son is graduating from Universiteit in England. Oh, that's awesome. In a couple of weeks. Oh, that's great. Wow. I'll need to make this hopefully for my son in a couple of years. He's got 2 more years of school left. He's in a 5-year program, so he's finishing off 3rd year and going into 4th year next year. So maybe I'll have the opportunity to make that for him again. Well, congratulations, Birgit. That's awesome. We love it when kids go to school and graduate. That's awesome. Good morning, Marty. You're going to get rain. Yuck. Well, I hope the weekend sounds better for you, I see. So that's awesome. All right. I'm just looking through to see if there's any questions. Good morning, Karen. Good morning, Nalita. Let's just see. I'm sorry about your kitty, Marty. I just read about that. Just reading. Amy said, I love how you, hello Amy, by the way, I love how you organize your cardstock with labeled page protectors. Yeah, so what I do is I take, I use the oversized page protectors. And I don't know if you can get this brand anymore, Wilson Jones. I had some left over still, but Avery I believe makes the ones that the newer ones that I use. This is like an older color, so I'm using an older one. But you need to look for the multi-capacity page protectors, and then it pretty much holds a full pack of cardstock. I usually just put half a cardstock in at a time, and that way our cardstock comes shrink wrapped, and sometimes it's hard to get, just the very edge open. This is a little bit more protection. And then I use a hanging file folder system for my cardstock. I know many of you have those beautiful stackers of cardstock. But since we're renting this place, I have not wanted to put too many permanent solutions into my craft room. So I have a file folder box that has hanging file folders. And I also use, I think they're extra strong page protectors. So I'm going to show you what I do. For those of you who are starting out or need a portable solution, it's like a box, and it's a storage box that I got at an office store that has bars on it that can put hanging file folders on it. So this is what I do. I have a hanging file folder, and so I put this in here. Okay, so it fits all the way down in here. And then I've got my little label sticking out in the correct color. And then when I need a sheet of cardstock, I can just pull the whole file folder out, and it's just a little easier for me rather than having loose sheets of cardstock. I just like the protectiveness of this. The other really nice thing about hanging file folders is that they're a little bit more light protected than if you have them open. So this is nice because it kind of keeps your cardstock protected from the light. Are there certain colors that you use more often than other colors? Well, in my cardstock collection, there are certain colors I use more. So some colors don't get more light over time because I don't use them quite as much. I have all the colors because you never know when you're going to need that color that's a little bit different than the colors you love. So keep them protected in page protectors and file folders. All right. Let me just see. I've got some side comments going on. Marty says, how did you do the multicolor tie-dye? I think that's probably a tutorial for another time, because I need to we need to clean off the stamp in between. So how about I'll do a card in the future with the spiral dye, and I'll show you how to get the tie-dye look, because that's kind of a more involved question than probably we want to get into today. All right. Nalita says, it looks kind of easy. Well, yeah, and that's the good part about it, because you do want something easy. It's not a hard card. It's not. You just need to know how to do it, and it's great for graduations. And, think about this. If you didn't have this little button right here, you could also make a square card and use that as a gift card holder too. It lends itself really well to a graduation cap, but if you put a different image on the front, it could be a different type of card too. So you can make it into a birthday card if you wanted to, just don't put the brad in. Verblue said, any grad would enjoy receiving this card. I think so too. That's awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being here with me today. I hope this answers everyone's questions about how to do this without a diagonal score plate. If you have questions or comments, please put them down below. And I love it when you give me a like or if you've subscribed to my channel. Thank you so much. That helps me get into more people's feeds when you give me a like or a comment or you subscribe. And I appreciate all of that goes on behind the scenes. All right, guys, have a fabulous weekend. I will be back live next Friday with another 3D or paper crafting project. On Tuesdays, I go live on Facebook with a card at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All the links to all the stuff you'll ever want to know about me and card making are down below. You will get an access to the supply list by clicking on the link that goes over to my blog. I've also added all the supplies that I used down below, and they are clickable as well, so you'll be able to find everything you need at a glance. Okay, have a fabulous weekend, and I will see you next week. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.